Good day, collectors and viewers. Social Distance Warrior is back, and today we're going to look at an infamous background character from the original Star Wars movie A New Hope, and that's Dr. Evazan. So Dr. Evazan made his debut way back in 1977 in Star Wars A New Hope, when our good friends and allies Luke Skywalker and Ben Kenobi visited the Star Wars Cantina in Mos Eisley, where Ben told Luke he could never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. And sure enough, they walk into this cantina, and this cantina is full of all these strange, obscure alien characters. Probably the most fascinating thing for me growing up. And when Luke ends up at the bar going to get a drink, he runs into our good friend Ponda Baba, who was Walrus Man on the original Star Wars release, and his good buddy, Dr. Evazan. So Dr. Evazan is translating for Ponda Baba, and he's telling Luke, you know what? He doesn't like you. And I don't like you either. And then he tells him he's got the death sentence on 12 systems, I think it was. Don't quote me if I'm wrong there, but I was always fascinated by that as a kid. And we get our Dr. Evazan figure not in the original release, but we get it when Star Wars returns in the 90s, in 1997, as part of the Power of the Force 2 cinema scene. This was a 3-pack Cantina Showdown with Ponda Baba and Obi-Wan as well, but it's our first ever release of Dr. Evazan as an action figure, and it was the only way to get him, and that's this guy over here. So we can see Dr. Evazan here in all of his glory back in 97. Now, thankfully, by the time he was released, he doesn't suffer from the super buff poses that the other figures did, but he is in an action pose, so he's standing in a really strange way, ready to attack Obi-Wan Kenobi in that scene. And he's holding his own unique blaster there, so we're going to look at his blaster there for a second just to see. It's unique to this action figure. So he's got a really cool blaster. I always loved this blaster just because it stood out compared to the other stuff that we had at the time. So that's what he came with in his hand. And then here's the Dr. Evazan figure. First time we'd ever get him. And you can see it's got a pretty nice likeness, head sculpt there. He's got some soreness over his eye. His head is got some red swelling there on the right side, probably when he fought Obi-Wan Kenobi and then hit the floor. You can turn him, or his articulation there at the head, back and forth. You can move his arms up and down. They're fixed, of course, but they can move at the shoulders, and what was normal for the stuff on Power of the Force 2, you can turn them at the waist, so you can go back and forth there at the waist. And then, of course, he's got articulation at the legs here, where he can sit down with the bar. The legs go up and down, but again, they're in an action pose, so they're not standing fully. He's kind of bent at the legs. He seems a little bit tall, but nonetheless, we finally got a Dr. Evazan. Underneath, we can see he's got his foot pegs, so he can stand and on scenes, on stands, any way you want him to. And that's what he looks like from the front. Take a nice look. And then that's what he looks like from the side. And then if we turn around to the back, we can see the detail on the back. Now his nice vest has got a nice, two-tone color there, and some wrinkles on it. So it's a nice action figure, and it was the only way you could get him. And you had to get, what was interesting, you had to get another Obi-Wan Kenobi and another Ponda Baba in the set. And the Obi-Wan and Ponda Baba, again, were pre-posed in action figure poses. And you were stuck getting them in order to get this guy. And of course, it was a little pricier to pick up, but it was a welcome addition. I was more than happy to add Dr. Evazan to the list. So that would be it for Dr. Evazan. We wouldn't get him on a single card release. In fact, we wouldn't see him again until all the way in 2004 in the original trilogy collection. We had something called the Screen Scene that was a Kmart exclusive. And there was 2 Mos Eisley Cantina sets, and one of them included I wouldn't say a brand new Dr. Evazan, but a resculpted Dr. Evazan, and a nicer version of him as well. So he's got his legs in a standing position this time. A brand new paint job. He's got a really weathered paint job. Let's have a look at him close up there. A new paint job on his head as well. So you can see a lot more detailing there on the head, and a lot more weathering on his outfit. It's a nice figure. But basically the same exact figure from the torso up. Same thing there articulation-wise. You can turn the head side to side. Okay, and then you can raise his arms, and of course he's got that blaster in hand again that he was carrying on the original release. We can turn him here at the waist. That hasn't changed. But we do have a nice little feature here. Straight legs as opposed to those action posed legs. And if you can lift his leg up there, you'll notice that you can bend him at the knee as well. So he doesn't have any articulation to move side to side of the knee, but nonetheless, they've put that articulation where you can bend him at the knee. His legs are a little thin, so he is more of a cartoon look than he is a movie appearance, but it's great to have that articulation where you can sit him on the stool. So we can, again, lift his legs up, we can bend his knees, and underneath you can see he does have the foot pegs there as well. So you can stand him like that, position him, and his legs are very close together once you bend them, but then you can sit him at the bar stool and have him as part of your cantina. Well, he doesn't really want to sit. One sec, let's give him another try. There we go. So we can sit him at the bar, turn him around, and this is exactly how a lot of people would position their action figures at the time. So that's Dr. Evazan in his Cantina Showdown. And that's what he looks like from the side. And let's just take a look at him from the back here as well. And we can see the details on him. He's a little slouched over. He's a little tilted to the side, which is a nice little feature on the character. But nonetheless, a welcome addition. And you can see if we put him side by side, let's just throw him on the stand there for a sec. If we put them side by side, we can see the difference between that original release and this one. You can see this one was designed to stand in this pose. This one was basically kit bashed and put together to stand next to him. So we wouldn't get another Dr. Evazan until Hasbro decided to make the vintage collection. And then our prayers were answered. We got a brand new version of Dr. Evazan, and probably our most complete, and we're probably not going to see something better than that unless they re-release them with a slightly tweaked up paint job. And then that's this guy over here. So that's Dr. Evazan from the vintage collection. Now you can see how far we've come with action figures from 2004 to 2012. This is a perfect rendition. He's got his vest sculpted on. It looks like it's a separate item, but it's not. It's actually sculpted right on there with a nice little paint job in there to make it look darker. He's got his shirt underneath there as well that's ripped open, just like it was in the movie. His head is on a ball joint now. You can see the sculpting on the head as well is completely new and super detailed. Let's bring that guy up close so you can see him. He's got, you know, the weathering and the scars across his face and the messed up nose. And there's our evil Dr. Evazan there all the way around. Articulation, of course, he has what was standard for the vintage collection. Swivels here at the shoulders. Same thing at the elbows. So you have full motion there at the elbows. You can turn his arm up and down. He's got his unique blaster in hand that's movie accurate now. And of course, you can turn his hand at his wrist as well. So you can turn that back and forth. As far as the waist here, articulation wise, he does have movement there too. So you can go side to side, picking up drinks at the bar. He does have a working holster now that's sculpted onto the bottom part of his vest there, but it's a working holster. You can get that blaster right inside there, fit it in there. Let's just show you what that looks like as well. So there's a close-up of that blaster in detail. Okay, and then we're going to slip that into his vest there so that he has a spot to put it when he goes to get a drink at the bar, and that fits in there nicely as well, as it did on the Cantina Aliens at the time. Below the waist here, you can see that he has articulation there at the hip, up and down. We can bend his knee. Okay, we can turn him side to side there as well. Okay, and then here at the ankle as well, he's got ankle articulation that goes up and down easily, like a lot of figures did have at the time. He has some miscolors over here if you bend that ankle down, but it doesn't really bother me. I'm sure it did bother some people, but I'm okay with it because I never really have his position other than standing at that bar. So that's what he looks like from the front, the superior version of Dr. Evazan. And then if we lift him up, we can look underneath, see that he has got the foot pegs there, and that's what he looks like from the side, detailed. And then that's what he looks like from the back, and you can see how far we've come. Fully detailed belt with the holster here at the back, the wrinkles on the jacket, vest there. The nice sleeves on his arms. Definitely a Cantina Patron that we're used to seeing in the original film. So that is the ultimate version of Dr. Evazan that we received in 2012. And he did make an appearance again in Rogue One. So that maybe is going to get a re-release of this figure. I'm not sure. But I'm sure he's not a high demand figure, but he's definitely one that you need to have in your Cantina. And we needed an update for sure over that previous one because we were getting such good updates of all the other figures. Why would we not have a Dr. Evazan? So we would get a Cantina Showdown for the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm in 2021. And they redid that same box that he originally came with in the Cantina Showdown. And he also comes with Ponda Baba and Ben Kenobi and a piece of that Cantina bar. And we got a brand new Dr. Evazan. That's in 2021. So let's just bring him forward over here to have a look at him. So he's part of the Black Series now as well. We got a brand new Dr. Evazan. He does have a separate piece here, vest sitting over his outfit, that you could take off if you wanted to. You can see he's got that shirt underneath there with a big V-neck. He's got head on the ball. Okay, as far as detail-wise, he's fully detailed on his face as well. Let's bring him close there. The Black Series one has come, again, a long way with these figures. They look very impressive, and we got an awesome version of Dr. Evazan. He does have articulation here at the shoulders. Standard stuff, Black Series-wise. He is definitely a brand new sculpt, which is awesome. You can swivel and bend his elbows there as well. And then, of course, he has movement there on his wrists. And you can actually see the articulation there where you can move that up and down as well to hold the blaster, to hold the drink at the bar. So fully articulated there. As far as the waist, we can turn him back and forth slightly. The vest kind of impedes him as well as the holster. But he does have a slit there on the side, so you can move him up and down a little bit. The legs do get full motion. They're on ball. There is a slit at the thigh to turn him side to side. And then you can, of course, move his knee as well. And then, of course, articulation there at the ankles. So, and of course, standard stuff that we'd love to see on 3 3/4 inch as well as Black Series is those rocker ankles. He does have that rocker ankle as well, which is normal on a lot of the characters now, and it's awesome to see on these guys. So that's our good buddy, Dr. Evazan, what he looks like from the front. Okay, and that's what he looks like underneath. He does have the foot pegs. And then if we turn him to the side, there he is, Dr. Evazan. And then from the back as well, and you can see the back part of his belt is painted and sitting over his vest. But he's a nice addition to your collection. And if we're lucky, we'll keep getting more Cantina Patrons in the Black Series, like Dr. Evazan. So that's it for my review. Again, there's not many versions of him, but he's definitely necessary a review for us to get to as part of the vintage collection, as part of the original Star Wars movies. And, you know, I hope you guys enjoy watching these videos. I look forward to making more. And thanks for watching. Take care.